Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. And I thought I would do a video today and show you the HK45. Now I am an HK fan and I've had a little bit of experience with them over the years, and I tell you what, I've always found HKs to be good quality, reliable, accurate handguns. Now reliability and accuracy is sort of relative. And what I mean by that is that all guns are probably more accurate than I'll ever be. But it's how well I can shoot them, okay? And I've always been able to shoot them rather accurately. And the models that I've had have been very reliable. H&K, when they first started making handguns, they made some pretty innovative designs. Now the very first one that I ever shot was an HK4. And that was a small gun. It was about the size of a Walther PPKS, and it was in .380. It was a friend of my father's had it, and it was a good shooting little gun. I only got to shoot it one time, but it was a nifty little gun. Now later on, a friend of mine bought a VP70, and the HK VP70 was kind of a weird looking gun. As a matter of fact, it reminded me of a toy gun that I had when I was a little boy that shot these little yellow discs out of the front of it, kind of like a futuristic design. It had a really steep angle on the grip. I didn't much care for that. It was double action only. But it has the distinction of being the very first polymer handgun. Now HK introduced that in 1970, and I think, well, I know it's not in production now, but I think it ended production in the late 80s. But I had a friend of mine that bought one and had an opportunity to shoot it quite a few times. Had a very hard double action trigger pull, I remember that. But if you could manage that trigger, it shot pretty good. Now my father in the 80s bought the HK PM7. And that was another innovative design in that it had a cocking mechanism on the front of the grip. Now it was a gas blowback design, and that wasn't new, and it had a fixed barrel onto the frame, and that wasn't new, but that cocking mechanism was quite innovative. Now I didn't really catch on to that gun that much. I thought it was a very well made gun, and it was a very accurate gun. But there's a couple of things I just couldn't get used to. I couldn't get used to that cocking mechanism, and the fact that it was a blowback design. You fired 3 or 4 magazines of ammunition through it, and you know, a blowback design dumps a lot of hot gases back on the slide. This slide would get really hot, and I didn't really particularly care for that. Now I know that there's a lot of folks that that really like their P7s, and I tell you what, it's a good gun. And I know that it was in the catalog last year. I'm sure it's an upgraded version, and I would be surprised if they didn't include it. It has a strong following. But you know, personal preference. It wasn't quite my cup of tea. Now in the 1990s they came out with the USP and the Mark 23. And that's when I really started getting into H&Ks. In 1994 I purchased a USP and 40 Smith & Wesson. And I know that time frame is accurate. My father was in a hospice program, and he was losing his battle with cancer. And I had just purchased the gun and took it to show him. He had been a huge influence in my life with firearms, and I thought he might enjoy seeing something like that, and of course he did. And that was a great shooting gun. Now if there are any detractors from the design of the USP, it is that it's kind of big, it's wide, it's boxy. Kind of a utilitarian shape to the gun. And over the years, they have addressed that. Now, they still make the USP basically like they always have, but they came out with some a compact version of that, and they've came out with some more enhanced versions like the HK2000. And that's what gets us to the HK45, because actually that has the same operating system as the USP, but they've enhanced some features and changed the ergonomics around on the gun quite a bit. Now, the HK45 was the gun that they had specifically developed for the U.S. military Joint Combat Pistol Program, and that was in 2006. And I went to the SHOT Show, and that's where they rolled this gun out. And I tell you what, the first time I grabbed a hold of this gun, I really liked it. In my opinion, HK really just knocked one out of the park with ergonomics. Now, even though it shares a lot of the same specifications as the USP, I'll go over some of them with you. Now, it has the same variants that the HK USP has, which means different modes of operation. Now, this happens to be a variant 1, and what that basically means is that it has a safety lever on the left-hand side of the frame. And I'll go ahead and show you folks that I am handling a empty weapon. But at any rate, what variant 1 basically means, you have the lever on the left-hand side. Up is safe, the middle position is down, and like you just saw, it has a decocking lever by pulling it all the way down. Okay? Now, this is a semi-automatic 45 ACP. Okay, and it is a double action, which means the first round is fired in a double action mode, which means it cocks the hammer back, and then the following rounds will be fired in single action. Now, the design of the safety is that the gun can be cocked, and the safety is on, and you can still manipulate the slide. Okay. And you can carry the gun cocked and locked if you so choose. Or in a more conventional manner, you can decock the hammer and put the safety on. So it has some options for modes of carry. It has a much reduced slide, and I don't know if that's going to show up on film or not, but it has been radiused and narrowed as you go towards the top of the slide quite a bit. And where they've done some of their best work is in the ergonomics of the handle. Now, it retains the same grip angle, which was copied from the 1911, and as you can see, the grip angles are the same. But what they have done is they have contoured this handle, this grip, to fit very well in the hand. Now, the HK45 comes with a couple of back straps there, so you can adjust the width through here. And if you look at those back straps, and I have the large one on mine, you can see that they even contoured the back straps to follow along the lines that they have done with the gun. This gun has a texturing on there that's kind of sort of like sandpaper, not quite as aggressive as like skateboard tape, and I really like it. It's grippy, it's not too aggressive, and it just fits really well. It also has ambidextrous slide release, okay, and that's also the method in which you take break the gun down, and I'll go ahead and show you that really quick. If you look in the top here of the slide, right here, you'll see that there's a little notch, and you match that up with the slide release, and just simply pull it out, and that's basically it. Then from there, it just kind of sort of comes apart like so many other handguns, like Glock or Smith & Wesson M&Ps or Springfield Armory XDs or whatever. The barrel does have the polygonal rifling, okay, And it also has the band around it that you may see in like a USP Expert or Match or something of that nature. And that basically lends itself to mating up with the slide for a little bit tighter fit to increase accuracy. Now it also incorporates the USP recoil reduction system, and it's a little bit different in that on the USP you will see dual recoil springs right here, and that they've replaced that with this nylon bushing to take some of the beating away from the slide going back and forth. Now, there we go. And that's the basic field stripping of the handgun. And basically, to put it back together, you line up that notch again, and there you go. You're done. Now, the magazine is a stainless steel magazine. It's been coated, and it is 10 rounds. Now, if you have a USP 45 or a Glock 21, you will notice that this magazine is quite a bit thinner, and they did that because they reduced the width of the grip, and that's how you get to the 10 round capacity. It doesn't have the 12 and 13 round capacity that the Glock or the USP has. Alright, now let's see, sights. Now it has low profile sights on it, and if you look, these sights kind of look yellow, and that's HK calls that night sights. Okay, it's a phosphorus material that they have in there, and when the gentleman at the HK booth told me that back in 2006, the first thing that I thought of was the spy ring, the glow-in-the-dark spy ring that I got out of a box of cereal when I was a young boy. You had to stick that thing up under a lamp for about 10 minutes and it glowed for about 30 seconds. At any rate, this is the same way that this works. You have to charge it with a light, and it glows. And I'll tell you what, it really glows bright. But gotta tell you, for a defensive gun, I just don't think that that's a smart idea to turn a light on and charge your sights in order for you to use them. But they do. There are some other manufacturers that are coming out with sights for the HK45 now. And I think Meprolite is somebody who are making tritium sights for it. So that would be a welcome addition. Another thing I'd like to talk about, another innovation of H&K, is the rail. You see rails on just about every gun now. USP was the very first gun that I ever saw with a rail. I don't know if they were the first, but it was the most prolific, I'll say that much. Only bad thing is that when other folks started making rails, they either used a Picatinny rail or some other type of rail. And, excuse me, my dog just ran into the thing here. And you could only use the proprietary light, and I think that was made by Insight Technologies. I do have one for my USPs. But now they have a Picatinny rail on there, so that opens up your options for different kinds of lights that you can put on there. Now, I honestly believe that this would be an excellent weapon for defense, whether it's concealed carry or home defense, if you don't mind carrying a larger handgun. So that is the HK45. Now they did come out a little bit later on with a 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson version, and that's called the P30, the HK P30, and that is an excellent gun in its own right. Alright folks, well that's going to be my video on the HK45. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, shoot straight, on the range, and in life. Thanks.